making. Take 2. You're going to want to draw. Now I'm using white crayon. You're going to want to use your pencil. I'm just using white crayon so you can see it a little better. You want to kind of plan out where your eyes, your nose, and your mouth are going to be. Now if you make something really little like this, by the time you get the paper mache over it, it's not really going to work. So you want to think a little bit bigger. And you can do cool shapes with them if you want. Now most of the time noses come out and are not cut out, so you can just kind of plan where you want it to be. You want to make sure that things stay pretty far in from the edges, and we'll show you why in just a little bit. You want to cut this out and make sure that you keep your scraps around the edges. This is how you're going to be able to build all your features. So you don't want to use the entire page for the base of your mask, or else you're not going to have enough to build your ears and your nose and your fangs and your horns and everything else you want to build. Now to get this center out, what you do is you gently fold it. You don't press it. You just gently fold it. You go all the way to the end and you do a little snip like that. Then you put your scissors through there and you cut. Yay! We'll do the exact same thing over here. And then for the mouth. Now you don't want to fold it too much because it will make your mask more weak. So you just want to fold it just enough to be able to get that little cut in there. And as always with scissors, be careful. If you cut yourself, make sure you see your teacher immediately, because they will get you a new pair of scissors and a Band-Aid and all that good stuff. Now this is where it gets really fun, and I'm going to get some tape ready for this, because this works best if you have your tape ready right on the edge of your desk. Let's rip off some small pieces of tape. Now to make this 3D, because right now it's flat, to make it 3D, you're going to give these cuts, and then when you fold them over each other, your mask will start to pop out. You want to get the tape to lay as flat as possible, because now you see that you have a chin. I'm going to give this dude some cheekbones. You're going to want to support that from both the front and the back if your tape doesn't wrap all the way around, to make sure that that stays popped out. And you're going to want to do an even cheekbone on the other side, otherwise it would just look weird. Now this is why I said we don't want to get too close to the edge, because the closer you are to the edge, the more weak your mask gets when you're doing these cuts. If it starts to get weak, no big deal, just reinforce it with tape, because it doesn't matter what this looks like. This is going to get all covered up, so it doesn't matter how this looks. Do a couple on the forehead. Now if you're having trouble holding it, there's a trick. You can put the tape on one side, then bend however much you want. So as you can see, it sits up off the table and it has dimension to it. But we need to add a lot more to this guy. So what you're going to want to do is you start creating features with your scraps. So maybe he's got big bushy eyebrows that come out from his head. So you bend and fold the exact same way we did before, and you just go ahead and attach it with more tape. Now for this project, you are going to want to include all the features. So you're going to want eyebrows, and you're going to want noses. So this gives you an idea of how to make some of the facial features, but it's left up to your own creativity. Some of the things that you noticed is when I had an area sticking up a lot, I put in a little piece to brace that. And so when you push on it, it doesn't push in. The reason for that is the paper mache is going to get really heavy on there, so you're going to want to make sure that you have it supported well enough. Any areas that are too close to the edge, make sure they're taped very well. Now for our paper mache that we're going to be using a mixture of glue and water. Now this is just regular old glue mixed into water. Now there's also paper mache paste that you can use, but this way if you are missing some of the project, you can get this done right at home. So you want about half and half glue and water, and it's going to be a little stinky, but that's okay because you're tough. And you're going to want to just start taking pieces, getting them covered with the paste. Now we're going to be using newspaper for this, but I'm using white paper so you can see it better. Put a little on there. Now you don't want it to be too soggy, because what will happen is your mask will start to get wet. Now you will be using a bigger piece or a bigger plate to put your goop on here, and what you'll do is squeegee it right off with your fingers, wipe your fingers on the edge, and it just goes right over that tape.
Do that again. I didn't see it.
Dip it in, squeegee it down. And notice how I'm overlapping a little bit. You're going to want to overlap your pieces to give them strength, but you don't want to put them right on top of each other. We're going to be putting a lot of layers on, so you want to kind of keep track of where you've put your stuff. Now for small areas, you use smaller pieces. Around sockets and edges, you just go ahead and wrap that right around. It makes a nice clean edge there. You're going to want to make sure everything is smoothed down really well so you don't have lumps and bumps. So that is how you paper mache your mask.